How are you?
Hi there. Good, thank you.
I'm not trying to be flippant about this, but the problems that Lyle's had to go through and is now playing again, is that going to work for you? Because tomorrow night's another night for him to get another game. He scored against Villa. He's an extremely good player. He's a great find for you guys. What can he help you achieve, and actually what can he achieve down the line?
It's a difficult question because of what he's had to go through. I think what is for sure shown in the little time he's played in the Premier League is that he's made for this league. You know, I think that's clear. What level in this league is difficult to assess, and I usually look at, because sometimes we forget about how high the bar has been set now in the Premier League. I don't think it's ever been this high. So, for example, teams like Bournemouth have got Solanke up front, who, you know, Everton's got Calvert-Lewin up front, and they're kind of the teams who are at the moment just above relegation. That's the standard of strikers in this league. Like, we can't forget that. But has he got the potential? I think he's shown definitely that it does. But I don't know whether the priority for him right now is anything other than being happy and playing. And that's what transpires, I think, on the pitch.
How big a responsibility do you feel now? Because you talked about it before, about he wasn't going to go to the AFCON Cup for the reasons you explained, which is cool. But now that he's playing again regularly, what responsibility do you think that you carry for him to make him happy and to make him that player you think he might be?
Yeah, so it's still very closely followed. We have, I don't know, it started with day one with his 3 or 4 weeks plan. Now he's got, I think, an 8-week plan going forward as well. So it's still being closely monitored at the moment, and it's nothing. I think you have to look at it like an injury a little bit, a return to injury, and he's every positive sign we wanted to see, and that's the best thing for us. We've seen everything he's had to do. He's done brilliantly, and now we just have to keep him on that path. But he's still getting day-to-day, how would I say, follow-up treatment, and until a point where, of course, the goal is to have him just live a normal life, you know. But he will get there.
It's a big responsibility in a sense for you, though, as his manager, I guess, because some lesser principled people than yourself might just use him and to hell with him and to hell with his emotional state. When you talk about it could be an injury, some managers just use players, whatever, for their own ends. But I get the impression that you'd never do that with Lyle.
No, but we've, you know, I think we've proven how we've reacted as a club. You know, we have had as well to suffer. I don't, not real suffering, but you know what I mean. Like, our best player, our number 9, was gone. You know, and I don't think there's anyone at the club that's had a second thought about what was the right thing to do here. And again, if people want to understand why this club is different, is because of, in moments like this, we have absolute unity within the club. There wasn't a person that came in and said, well, maybe, oh, careful, what are the implications of, because it could affect his value as well. But nobody cares. We did what is right by the player. We will continue to do so for him and every other player we have. And right now we have to sometimes suffer short-term consequences, but which are never worse than the player himself, of course. But on the long term, we'll always be better because of it, and that we're very clear in that. Thank you.
Vinny, this maybe a bit crass, but if we could just separate the mental health problem, but in terms of his actual form in the pitch, he seems to be getting better with every game and scored a good goal at Villa. Where how do you assess where he is now and what he's still got to do?
But this is and I'm only so open about this because obviously he's fine with it being, you know, he's publicly discussed it. But the thing what people have to understand is, so he was good before, right? He was good before. but he was playing with a massive weight on his shoulders before that, you know. So us going through the process with him and him being what he's shown now, I don't even think he's at full fitness yet. But just having the weight off your shoulders, just being free to play, you know, that's why his performances are now even of another level. You know, there's no coincidence. There's a reason for that, and it's the fact that he was perhaps not playing with an injury that was visible to people, but he was playing with a burden. And I think it goes for everyone in life. You know, unless you find the methods and you build up the tools to deal with it, you're basically always you're never able to perform at full capacity, never. And he's hopefully on a path where he'll be able to unlock everything he's got, you know.
Vinny, could you just ask you about James Trafford, because he's come in and it's been hard because he conceded a lot of goals, but his performance levels seem to have been doing that, and he's shown a real maturity for such a young player in his first season in the Premier League. What's your assessment of where he's at and what he can do?
Yeah, I think he has won. I don't think me personally, I'm saying anything new when I speak about the fact that he's a talented player, because he was spotted way before he signed for us. You know, I think he's always been a name or a player to look out for even in the youth, even when he was in the younger age groups. But I think what is promising with him is that he's unfazed by mistakes, unfazed by good games, bad games. He's on a pathway is very calm, very mature for his age, and for me, I like that type of personality because it shows growth. You can trust that a person will keep improving. But like I said before as well, like every other Premier League team, we're very fortunate to have two good goalkeepers, and you need that.
Hi Vinny. Just on the theme of development, obviously when you lost Luca, it gave the opportunity for others to step up, and Wilson and Mike have sort of been two of those who've sort of played in his position. Both of them arrived sort of later in the summer and didn't necessarily have, I guess, the full pre-season. Are you pleased with the progress that they're making now that they're getting more game time and getting more minutes on the pitch?
Yeah, and I can see that from the entire team. That's why I'm relatively, you know, I know what the reality of the points is. I know what the reality of the league is, and whether we'll get there in time or not. You know, it's for us to try and deliver. But I'm relatively optimistic because I do see players who are much further ahead than where they were 3-4 months ago, and that's the biggest job for me as a coach, is to get them forward. And someone like Mikey has shown obviously spells of talent, but someone like Wilson as well, and Wilson's only 19, but he doesn't play like a 19-year-old kid. It's like you've got a few players who are young in this league, not many, but it's tough to earn a spot in this league at that age, and he looks like a player who can do that. So, but the positive side of these players is if they do progress, they can always put us at it's a beginner's mistake, that.
In the old days, you used to find.
Yeah. In the old days, you wouldn't have a phone. But now I'm from a younger generation. You'd have older managers who get really uptight about this. I'm from a younger generation. You know, I could deal with stuff. So just going back to what I was saying is the only thing that's good is if you look at the rate of improvement of all these players you've mentioned over the last 3 months, the guarantee you have with these players is if they stay in a stable mindset is that they're going to improve even quicker, and they're going to continue to improve and get better. And that's an exciting prospect as a manager, because the team where it is now is still got a lot of room to improve before now and the end of the season. And we've been close to results. We've been really, really close many times now. I hope that scoring 2 goals will be matched with not conceding, you know, and not conceding will be matched with scoring a goal. That's the finer margin what we're talking about. But these players are all making the steps, and they've got output. So these guys are having assists and goals, and hopefully, and I'm sure they're going to continue to do so.
And just one more on, just in terms of the transfer window, if you found it, has it been a little bit more difficult given the situation that you're in, like league table, from an outside perspective, looking at maybe players that you might want? Has it been difficult in that sense about, you know, convincing players that you should come to Burnley, even though when they might look at the league table, they may have a certain perception?
No, not for us. Like if financially it makes sense, I always feel we're able to convince players to come to the club, and you know, it's I think it's one of these clubs. Once you get to know it, you understand that it's different. You know, we put so much emphasis on players and their development and their improvement, no matter the age. It's not about being young or old, and it's a really good environment that, you know, players would want to play in. So that's not been difficult, but it has to make financially sense. That's the difficulty.
Okay. Vinny, you were linked with Tottenham last summer. I don't know whether that was just paper talk or how far it went. Were you?
It wasn't me.
You
have more information than.
Were you flattered, or did you make it quite clear you were staying here for the project right from the offset?
No, I didn't speak about it. That was my tactic. You can call it a tactic. I've had to think about it before I become a manager. How am I going to handle these questions, sacking or new job? And it's very close to each other, as we're all witnessing, right? But just ignore it. Just ignore the chat. Continue with what I'm doing and focus on what I've got my hands on, and it's this group of players.
There was no formal approach or discussions.
No, but the thing is, like, is how I function. If anything was to happen, the first person I would speak to was the chairman, and he would know all the ins and outs of whether there was an approach, not an approach. So I feel that's the person I have a duty to report to. And then the rest, it doesn't consume a second of my thoughts. The only thing I'm focused on is this group, these players. There's also a level of respect I think that they deserve, that goes beyond that, you know. And as well, I'm a young manager, but I feel I've been in this game. I'm like a dinosaur almost, you know. That's how long but that's how long I know the dance and all this kind of stuff. It bores me. I'm not a part of that. What excites me when I wake up in the morning is, despite the points, I wake up in the morning and I'm like, I can make my players better. I can make this team stay in the Premier League, and beyond that, I can make this team be a good team in the Premier League. That's the only thing that wakes me up. Everything else is totally irrelevant. And you'd be surprised. I'll even anticipate saying that even scenarios where it doesn't go well this year, still then my goal doesn't change, and that's what I'm focused on. The only thing. So
just a quick one on the, if I can squeeze one about the FA Cup. Of course, it will mean an awful lot to you. It's the first trophy that City had won for 35 years.
Probably and it was my last game as well in English football.
Oh, the 2019 final.
Yeah.
So, is it?
No, it was if I describe it honestly, it was like a fairy tale, because I've kind of lined that up to talk about something positive, right? But no, because obviously the 2 games before that year we won the League Cup and then we won the Premier League. But then my last game was that game in English football, and I knew it. So when it's 4-0 and you see whoever it is, Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne, and they're just keeping the ball themselves and they're just doing this, you get to kind of see how big the stadium is for once, and you get to enjoy the flags, and you get to have almost like a fan's experience whilst being in the middle of the pitch. And I don't think that's been given to many people, you know. I got to have a chat with Troy Deeney during the game, you know, like almost saying goodbye to each other. That's the type of day it was. So yeah, no, 6-0, it works well.
Disrespect it, you treat the competition seriously, you know.
Yeah, always. Well, every competition, yeah, always. It's there's always an idea about. I don't think I know many. Anyway, I wouldn't understand it, but there's always an idea about cup. For me, cup competition is it doesn't matter. It's not the Premier League. Financially, it means something different, of course. But I hope I want to see our team do well. And the only thing you don't do in cup competitions is maybe take unnecessary risk. You know, that's maybe where you draw a line. But other than that, you try and do the most you can to have a moment, have a journey in this competition.
Okay, thank you very much. Cheers.
Thank you. Everyone.